All right, moving on. Our next speaker is continuing the theme of more engaging brand engagement. Please welcome to the stage. We have just Nathan Kroll and John Burns from Dispatch. Yeah, you can do it.
Thanks, sorry.
Hey, good luck.
One second. All right, morning, everybody. We're going to try to really focus on specifically brand engagement. It's interesting. Our take on a lot of what we've seen today, it's brilliant from a technical perspective, but our dialogue today is a little bit more about just the strategy focus. This is my first year here. I think this is
My third.
And by the way, my name is Jonathan Burns, and this is Nathan Kroll.
We are in a company that in AR that focuses on connecting the physical world with mobile content.
Go to that handheld for me. I'm getting interference. Sure.
How's that? That's feel like that's kind of cool. Often we are referred to as the guys who convinced Walmart to use augmented reality. More importantly, we are introducing augmented reality to the Walmart consumer. I got to take this off there. And introducing augmented reality to the main consumer, which is middle America and mainstream America. We've heard a lot of talk over the last couple days about augmented reality, and as an industry, we have a lot of work to do in order to be able to have augmented reality successful. But we believe that augmented reality, with the tech that's available today, has the opportunity to have massive impacts with brands, and have major impacts on people's behavior.
I think we're going to have to pass the puck, or am I good with this?
You're good.
Perfect. So as I mentioned today, we're going to really talk about the strategy. Our focus today for this conversation is really to look at 3 specific tactical case studies that were in market. And our focus is going to be a little bit on, as mentioned previously, dwell time, app adoption rates, immersion time, usefulness, even app downloads, as well as social shares. The 3 campaigns that we're going to look at really were like retail-tainment campaigns, marketing initiatives, social campaigns as well. Before we jump into that, we've got a couple of stats that we're going to jump into just so that we're all sort of on the same page. Think of this from a brand's perspective, making sure that this makes sense. Now, there's a couple of stats that I usually like to jump into. I usually like to jump by the 2009 $1 million in revenue perspective, and I like to jump into sort of market sizing, the market sizing dialogue that talks about things like 30% of users are looking for an augmented reality experience and engaging once a week. Now that stat's interesting. That's projected for 2014. The message behind that is if you build it, they will come. If you build something that's meaningful, people will engage with the technology. There's no fear of the technology. If it's useful, if it's powerful, if it's effective, that's what matters. The second stat that I'm giddy about is talking about 2014, 1.6 billion AR-enabled devices in the market. So that second point really means that people now have the technology at hand, in their pocket. Hardware is now readily available. So all of a sudden, we're now having a shift saying, not only is there an appetite for what we're building, but there's the propensity and the ability to be able to launch and engage from a brand perspective.
So what are they doing with these 1.6 million devices? Well, I mean, they're being social. They're sending and receiving email. They're posting on social networks. And they're searching for content to be able to share. And not only are they searching for content, they're searching to create their own relevant content to share. And brands would love nothing better than the ability to be able to be a part of that as people are creating their own content. And we think that augmented reality is a perfect tool to give people the ability to create their own content and involve brands within it. What are the other things that people are doing with their mobile devices? They're bringing them with them when they go shopping. They basically, that last precious 3 minutes of before they make a decision, they have their devices with them, and this stat suggests that they have the propensity to use them. So we've taken those 2 mobile habits, if you will, and we've created a retail marketing strategy that incorporates augmented reality, leverages brands, and also kind of fits within the retail theories that are in place now. and we've called it Retailtainment.
And that leads right into our retailtainment concept that we want to talk about. You'll probably notice everything that we're really focused on today is mobile. We don't have another half hour to talk about some of the web-based or kiosk structures. Our enthusiasm and our focus for the presentation really is on a mobile strategy. So from a retailtainment perspective, there used to be a time when you'd walk into a Walmart, you're not supposed to even open up your phone. That's gone. Nate talked about the last 3 feet. For using that from a communication standpoint, well, this retailtainment campaign had only 2 objectives, and it was really simple and straightforward. From a retailer, drive traffic to retail through the front door. And then the second step from that campaign, the objective is to move people around. They've got mandates and they've got requirements and they've got objectives based on that strategy, but that was essentially our simple strategy from a retailtainment concept. How we did it was kind of the fun part to it, right? So what we did was we built an app. And the idea behind the app is to have 3 experiences. This was supposed to be based on a movie that was coming out tail end of early part of 2012 for the Avengers. So we're leveraging a brilliant brand. Marvel's launching a cinematic release that we think is going to be a big hit. So you also have a captive audience that have a voracious appetite for content. Very helpful. Second thing, what we did was in store there was a take a quiz component and become that superhero. Take pictures of yourself, post and share. There's a free game that was structured was really cool outside of retail. But if I go to retail, I unlock benefits, powers, abilities, characters, etc. You'll see in a second as Nate runs through that. The last piece was actually giving additional value to product that was on the shelves. So it was the product activation, a consumer product strategy. So all of a sudden, product had additional components to it, almost like a gift with purchase, but of course, available only at Walmart.
So let me take you through the game. The game is a 360 game with a first-person shooter game where you are the Avengers and you're battling against the bad guys. We've all seen games like that. What was special about this game was that Hawkeye comes unlocked. And if you want to play with Captain America, or if you want to play with the Hulk, or my favorite, Black Widow, you have to actually physically go into Walmart stores, look for the appropriate signage, scan it, unlock it, to have access to that game. If you want to fight against Loki at the end, you have to have unlocked all 6 of the characters. In doing so, you will have traveled to 6 different locations within a Walmart store. Now, as a retailer, if you have a customer that moves to 6 different locations in a store, that is absolute nirvana.
Right, so it was interesting, we were ecstatic by the logic, the game, the fun play of this component. We thought that was the big hit. And what happened was after we'd launched that campaign, and our dwell times in this game was extremely impressive, but what was more exciting and what was more impressive was actually there was a campaign that allowed people to have what you've seen before, the photo share experience, where the Hulk pops up off an anime or off a point of purchase, and all of a sudden you've got an opportunity to take a picture with your favorite superhero, interact with the superhero, save it, post it, and share it. Now the impressive nature of that was all of a sudden, before we knew it, within a 4-week campaign, we had 500 million social impressions of this particular campaign.
That's 500 million.
And that was anywhere from the pictures shared to the dialogues talked about. Fox News actually picked it up and actually talked about this on broadcast. So it actually crossed a lot of platforms, a lot of different medias. Now what's impressive about this is not just app downloads, but it's the dialogue that people are now having about Walmart as the destination for Avengers product. That was the end objective. All of a sudden, if you want the product, you want Avengers, you go to Walmart. And that connection was the brand initiative. That was the value behind it. Now, we can go through all our metrics and talk about dwell time, app downloads, social shares. I find the next piece is the one that is actually more powerful. From this point, we ended up doing it again and again and again. All of a sudden, other retailers wanted to participate, understand the structure, understand the strategy. All of a sudden, other studios are saying there's value in this. I can understand how I can give fans with a voracious appetite for content the ability to engage with the content and value it from a retail perspective.
So the next campaign we're going to show you was for Absolut Vodka. Absolut created a viral video that had these cool robotic greyhounds racing to a Swedish House Mafia track. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it's pretty slick. It was supported with a massive outdoor media campaign, or out-of-home campaign. We were asked to build an augmented reality app that leveraged the 2 assets from the video. And the idea was to connect it with these huge triggers in some of the most popular squares throughout North America. The purpose of this entire campaign was, one, to support the out-of-home, and two, to immerse people more fully in that absolute Greyhound world. And we've got a video prepared.
If you guys could play the video, that would be perfect. Thanks. Sorry about that, guys. My ear is still ringing as well. So from a campaign perspective, Nate's mention was, it is awesome. Large scale, full immersion, full dialogue. There was some storytelling in this particular objective, in this particular app. We're not going to run through the details. We sort of described it to you, but there's 4 experiences really built into there. You saw that mixer where you go in, change the tempo, change the bass, change the treble, record it, save it, and post it. The social piece is the one that we want to touch on from this perspective. Not only was there live tweets, Facebook likes, connections to the actual brand, so I could actually find drinks, recipes, etc. But there was actually an event that was launched where you're actually able to have the ticket and go to these particular events. So all of a sudden we went from a social perspective, digital social, to real social. And that was the connection and the dialogue that this app was driving.
So the next campaign that we're going to show you, and John's actually going to show you this one. This launches next week. It's for Toyota. And the reason that we want to show you this is that sometimes augmented reality can be used. Sometimes augmented reality can be used to be able to engage with a brand for a longer period of time and in a more memorable way. And basically, this app was designed to do exactly that. We're finding that with a lot of the apps that we're building, we are getting an average dwell time or engagement time of literally close to 6 to 7 minutes. We also, and when you are engaged with the brand for 6 to 7 minutes, your recall is going to be pretty good. This app allows you to explore the inside. It also allows you to explore the outside of the car. We're actually using Qualcomm's UDT image there, or image tracking solution there. Well, we forgot a good tracker, so we're making do up here. How you doing, John? You can explore the outside. The other cool thing about this app was we had to actually have it under 50 megs, and there's a crap load of content in it. And one of the things that we were able to do was we came up with a tiling system so that as the car, as you're driving this car through this massive scene, it's actually tiling, and the scenery around the car is being created as you drive, and it kept the textures really low and the app size within a manageable amount for people to be able to download.
So we're running late. We just want to make sure that we're going to tie it up really together, real tight. The idea behind what we're presenting, really, there's only 4 specific concepts, and this is what we'll close on. When we talk about building things, the first thing I wanted you to know was from a stats perspective, people have the hardware and they've got the desire. They're actually downloading things that we build. So I think that's extremely important. The second thing is build it right. And that's part of that storytelling that seems to be a common theme that we keep hearing. We talk about immersion, we talk about dwell, we talk about integration or interaction, as well as a social perspective. That's part of the building it right and telling the story. The last thing, or actually second last thing, is tech versus strategy, or not necessarily versus, but being in tandem. A lot of the times we want to build it because we can build it, and that's the exciting part. But a lot of times if that's not aligned with the strategy, sometimes you can miss. So just because you can build it doesn't mean you should. The last point that I want to close off on is from a lot of marketing initiatives and brand strategies, you have to get found. A lot of the times we're building the better mousetrap. And if you don't have some traditional marketing strategies behind it, if it doesn't get found, it's not in line with that strategy. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John and Nathan. That was very brand engaging.